Welcome back to Ben's Book Club. Today, we are diving into the book Barefoot Kids. We're exploring the core principles from Scott Pape's smash hit guide, and I actually want to start this explainer by addressing a deeply held tradition in, well, pretty much most of our households. I mean, think about it. Most of us grew up thinking that getting a weekly allowance was just a totally normal part of being a kid, right? But what if the way we're teaching our kids about money is fundamentally flawed? What if that old school piggy bank and the automatic weekly handout are actually doing more harm than good? Let's take a look. It's a really tough question to ask ourselves, isn't it? Is your pocket money creating entitlement? Scott Pape, who you might know as the barefoot investor over in Australia, he argues that handing out an allowance to kids, literally just for breathing, teaches them to be passive consumers. Think about it. When kids just rely on some magical weekly allowance, or they just wait around for Santa Claus and birthdays to fund their endless wish lists, they completely miss out on learning the actual value of earning. So let's dive into this and see how we can flip that dynamic entirely. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start by unpacking the pocket money problem, then we'll move right into the 6-step barefoot blueprint. From there, we'll break down the practical 4-money bucket system, learn how kids can become a barefoot boss, explore the power of giving, and finally, we'll look at why letting kids fail early is the best investment you can possibly make. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the pocket money problem, consumer versus producer. The core philosophy here is that financial confidence is a learned skill. It is not something you can just sit down and lecture into a child's brain. The big issue with traditional pocket money is that it usually isn't tied to any real tangible effort. It breeds what Pei calls a consumer mindset, basically expecting an allowance simply for existing. It's entirely passive. But a producer mindset? Now that means earning money through real action and problem solving. The entire goal of this book is to shift kids from being consumers to being producers. And the real beauty of this approach is that it gives kids agency. They aren't just waiting around for a handout anymore. They are actively looking for ways to generate their own income. So the absolutely crucial point here is figuring out what kids should actually get paid for. And the author makes a brilliant distinction. First, you have the family team. These are unpaid chores, stuff like making beds or clearing the dinner dishes. You do these simply because you live in the house and you're part of the family. No bribes, no paychecks. But then there are contractor jobs. This is the extra paid work. It could be washing the car, weeding the garden, or doing tasks for the neighbors. This little nuance is huge, guys, because it teaches kids that while basic responsibility is just expected, going above and beyond is what actually gets rewarded financially. Moving right along to Section 2, the Barefoot Blueprint, 6 action-packed steps. Let's look at the actionable framework designed for kids roughly aged 7 to 13. And don't worry, this isn't some dry finance textbook. It's designed as a hands-on adventure that puts the kids directly in the driver's seat while parents, you just simply set the guardrails. Step 1 is earn some money, where kids negotiate their pay for those extra contractor jobs. Step 2 is stash your cash, moving far away from that single piggy bank model. Step 3 is be a barefoot boss, which we're going to dive into shortly. Step 4, get what you want, is all about intentional spending, hunting for secondhand deals, and avoiding ripoffs. Step 5 is make someone smile, focusing heavily on generosity. And finally, Step 6 is grow your money, which introduces the absolute magic of compound interest. Together, these steps build a super strong work ethic and real financial confidence, all without a single boring lecture. Which brings us to Section 3, the 4 money buckets. Time to kill the piggy bank. To really operationalize this blueprint, we have to kill the traditional piggy bank. Having just a single jar teaches kids to either obsessively hoard their money or blow it all at once. Instead, we divide their earnings into 4 specific targeted categories. The first is splurge. Yes, splurge. This is for spending money on things they enjoy right this second, like lollies, a new comic book, or small toys. It's incredibly important because it gives kids the immediate freedom to actually enjoy the fruits of their labor. Think about it. If kids save absolutely everything, they're going to grow to resent the entire process. The splurge bucket safely allows for everyday fun without wrecking their larger financial goals. Next up, we have the save bucket. This one is dedicated to working toward a specific big thing goal. Maybe it's a Nintendo Switch, a sweet new bike, or a special pair of sneakers. This bucket is a phenomenal tool for teaching delayed gratification. It's where kids learn to track their own progress, research secondhand deals, and really understand that good things take time and patience to acquire. Then there is the give bucket. This is all about using money and time to help others and donate to causes they personally care about. And Pape makes this a mandatory part of the system. It frames money not just as a high score to accumulate, but as a literal tool for kindness. It builds deep empathy and proves to kids that helping others creates a very real, tangible sense of joy.
Finally, we have the Grow Bucket. This is a kid's introduction to long-term investing and compound interest. And the truly amazing part? Kids can start this with as little as $5. The book keeps the whole concept incredibly simple and exciting, so kids can vividly see how their money multiplies over time when it's just left alone to work for them. It sets the ultimate foundation for lifetime wealth building.
All right, Section 4, Becoming a Barefoot Boss. Time to find your jam. So once the buckets are set up, how do kids really turbocharge their earnings? Well, this brings us to Pape's gritty, highly practical concept of finding a jam, which is essentially a kid-friendly side hustle. So what does finding a jam actually look like? First, they get parent approval. Got to start there. Second, they form a business idea by identifying a real neighborhood problem. Maybe it's dirty wheelie bins, weeds taking over a garden, or neighbors who desperately need a pet sitter. Third, they go out and find their customers. And fourth, they do the hard work. The source material actually features over 45 real stories of kids making actual cash, doing things like selling fresh eggs or making homemade slime. It's not abstract at all, it's highly actionable, and it builds tremendous entrepreneurial confidence. Section 5, The Power of Giving, Fixing Local Needs. I actually want to pause right here for a second because this is truly the emotional core of this explainer. Managing money well isn't just about getting rich, It's about what that money allows you to do for your community. It's about discovering the power to fix a local need. When kids put money into their give bucket and then physically use it to buy supplies for an animal shelter or help out a neighbor in need, a switch literally flips in their brains. They see a problem in their community and they realize they actually have the financial agency to fix it themselves. It completely transforms their relationship with money from a tool of selfishness to a tool of true empowerment. And that brings us to our final section, Section 6, Letting Kids Fail Early, Building Resilience. Now, for all of this to work, parents have to adopt a very specific mindset. Your role isn't to micromanage. Your role is to provide the blueprint, set the guardrails, and then firmly step back. And honestly, this might be the hardest pill to swallow for us parents. Let them fail with a $20 mini business today. It's incredibly counterintuitive, I know. Our natural instinct is to protect our kids from disappointment at all costs. But allowing them to make small mistakes right now, like buying a cheap toy that breaks immediately, or starting a car washing business that gets 0 customers, that builds vital resilience. The lesson they learn from a $20 mistake at age 10 is exactly what prevents them from making a massive, catastrophic financial mistake later in life. So the crucial point is captured perfectly right here in this overarching quote from the book. Don't just tell them, let them do it. Financial fitness is a learned skill, not a lecture. Kids absolutely need the tactile experience of holding cash, negotiating a rate, making a sale, and even feeling the sting of a really bad purchase. Experience is the absolute best teacher here. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. Will you let them lose $20 today to save them $20,000 tomorrow? It's all about the long-term impact of giving kids true financial agency early on. Handing over the reins might feel a little scary at first, but it is undoubtedly one of the best investments you can ever make in their future. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and please subscribe so you don't miss an episode.